Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Think Your Way to an Epic Life. Today's episode is for very specific people. It's the founder or the CEO, the executive, the entrepreneur, the top performer who's already read hundreds of self-development books, maybe even thousands. Maybe it's the person who has gone to countless seminars and hired coaches and attended masterminds, tried therapy, or gone to see Tony Robbins live 3 times, just like I did before I ever thought about doing the deep inner work. You're not new to growth, are you? And you're not lazy. You're not clueless. You're not lacking work ethic. Haven't you already outworked most people your entire life? You know how to push, and you know how to sacrifice. You know how to achieve your way through pain and perform your way through fear and stay busy enough taking care of everyone else so that you don't have to look at your own internal issues. And yet, something still feels off, doesn't it? I mean, you built a successful life, so why do you still feel empty? Why does success sometimes feel easier than peace? If you'd like to explore the science and the sources that I'll be referring to throughout this podcast more deeply, there'll be additional information in the show notes, so just click below. So guys, success really can create options and experiences, opportunities, but it does not create meaning or emotional security or peace. So today we're going to talk about why personal development is powerful, but incomplete. We're going to talk about why high achievers often hit a wall that effort it can't solve. We're going to talk about the internal patterns that silently sabotage your success and why inner work is different and what you can be doing right now that will help you feel freer, calmer, more conscious, more alive. If you know someone who looks like they have it all together publicly, but privately they're suffering, please share this episode with them. Because, sometimes penthouses feel like prisons. And so let me say something important right away here. I love personal development. I've spent decades immersed in it. I've read well over 1,000 books on personal development, human performance, psychology, spirituality, habits, leadership, nutrition, the brain, what makes people thrive. And I've listened to podcasts. I've attended so many conferences and speakers. I've studied with mentors. I've tested routines, and I have built most of my life based on those teachings. So personal development massively changed my life for the better. And it can help you become disciplined and strategic and productive and financially successful. And I need to tell you something that many people just don't say clearly enough about personal development. It does not heal the deep, unconscious inner sabotage. I mean, it does improve habits, or I guess I should say it can, and mindset and performance and income and all those things. However, information alone does not change deeply conditioned emotional patterns. Those identity wounds, those shame responses or nervous habits that you have. I mean, have you ever known exactly what to do, but not done it? How about, have you ever read the book and hired the coach, attended the event, and then repeated the same painful pattern over and over? That's because knowledge and healing, they're not the same. Many high achievers achieve their way out of almost everything. Financial pressure, they can outwork it. Career setbacks, I can outwork that too. Fear, I just stay so busy I don't have to deal with the fear. Pain, I'll just push harder. I'll push through the pain. I need approval. Well, they can become even more impressive. And to be fair, that strategy often works for a while until one day when it doesn't. And that wall might look like burnout, panic, divorce, losing a company, losing a career, a health diagnosis. Maybe it's loneliness or waking up one day inside of an incredibly beautiful life and wondering, why am I not happier than this? You see, most people only turn inward when life gets painful enough. And that's not weakness. Often people change when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change. So please do this with me now. Just take 2 breaths with me. Really big breaths. Take a huge breath in, all the way in till you can't have any more, and then hold it gently for about 5 seconds, and then slowly blow it out like you're blowing out a candle. Maybe you're blowing out twice as long as you breathed in. 1 more breath in. Really deep, really deep. Hold it in, and then exhale it completely. All the way. Okay, notice how that felt. Did you feel it? Did you notice that your state changed in less than 20 seconds? Doesn't that mean that you're not trapped? You might be conditioned or patterned or stressed, but you're not trapped. Isn't that great news? Controlled slow breathing has been shown to positively influence the nervous system, stress arousal, and emotional regulation. Just taking a few breaths. Let me tell you something, it might save you years. Personal development often focuses on the goals and the habits and the productivity and the leadership and the communication and the strategies and the results and the profit, and all of that is very valuable. Truly it is. Inner work focuses on subconscious patterns, emotional wounds, shame, self-worth, relationship patterns, fear of being alone with your own thoughts, and the hidden beliefs silently driving your behavior. Personal development helps you perform. Inner work helps you stop fighting yourself. Personal development teaches you how to win. Inner work teaches you how to be free. Personal development might help you build the company. Inner work helps you enjoy your own company. Did that hit you? See, many successful people carry an internal voice that's critical, fearful, restless, comparing, and it's never fully satisfied. Because it's been there so long, they mistake that voice for themselves. Dr. Daniel Amen popularized the phrase ANTS, meaning automatic negative thoughts. Have you ever hit a milestone and instead of celebrating, you immediately move the goalpost by saying, oh, okay, what's next? Have you ever had a beautiful day and then suddenly your mind was searching for something to worry about? Gay Hendricks talks about this in his best-selling book, The Big Leap. It has a little fish jumping from a little bowl into the big bowl. It's a great book. And he calls it the upper limit problem. And that's the tendency to sabotage joy or love or success or peace. Any of those states that don't feel familiar to you, you can sabotage them. And so how many people sabotage joy, not because they're broken, but because joy feels unfamiliar? See, there was a season in my life where, by the world's standards, I looked highly successful. Had a beautiful home, a beautiful family, I was traveling freely, incredible friends, and wonderful investments, great opportunities. I mean, we're talking about a life that a lot of people would admire, and I was grateful, but inside, I was under enormous stress. I was constantly running, doing, distracting. I struggled to be alone quietly with my own thoughts. I had to have a book or a podcast or noise or something to keep me from sitting with my own thoughts because they were so destructive. My body eventually began carrying what my mind would not face. Stress for me was no longer just emotional. It became physical. And success on the outside does not guarantee peace on the inside, I can assure you. And maybe you're still listening because you know that deep down, something needs to change. That realization is not ingratitude, it's awareness. I mean, many people are very respected professionally, but they struggle relationally. Well, why? Well, often because work rewards performance. And at work, you can be polished and productive and admired and highly respected. But at home, your unresolved stress, it comes with you. Your impatience, your emotional unavailability, your nervous system, they all show up at home. Are you getting tremendous respect at work, but like very little connection or appreciation or respect at home? Why? Well, maybe because performance can earn admiration. Only authenticity creates intimacy. See, there's a long-term research out there from Harvard University that close relationships are one of the strongest predictors of long-term happiness, health, and life satisfaction. Not a title or status or income. Relationships. Let that sink in. One reason I really deeply respect Brené Brown is because her work helped normalize this reality. You know, that powerful people often tried to hide from themselves. She teaches that shame thrives in secrecy, while authenticity weakens shame's hold. Have you noticed that when someone is truly real, whether they're on stage or in a conversation with you or they're on camera, that you're just like drawn to them, even if they're not polished? Why? Well, because truth builds trust. I used to think that I needed to impress people. Now I know people connect with truth. You can be polished and forgettable, or real and unforgettable. The infamous Joseph Campbell studied myths and stories across cultures, and he identified repeating patterns of transformation, and it's known as the hero's journey. It was made famous in The Hero with 1,000 Faces. George Lucas credited Campbell's work as a major influence on Star Wars. Why does that story resonate so deeply? Well, because it mirrors real growth. We're called. We resist. We fear. We seek help. We face trials. The old self begins to die, and a wiser self emerges. Many people think the hero's journey is about slaying dragons outside of yourself. Really, the real dragon is within. Things like fear, shame, avoidance, need for approval, self-hatred, emotional numbness, endless striving. Could it be that your next level requires conquering less outside and more courage inside? A client recently said to me, "Coach Schug, I built everything I thought I wanted. So why do I feel so miserable?" After our deeper work, the truth emerged from her subconscious. Turns out, as a child, love had been tied to performance. So no success ever felt final. She had to continue performing in order to continue getting love. Every win brought temporary relief, but then the internal system said more, again, hurry. That is unresolved pain driving performance. And please believe me, I know it's no fun digging into things from your past that you have avoided successfully for decades. No one ever wakes up all excited, let's go revisit some pain. Guys, however, what we avoid usually controls us. So the parts of your past that refuse to heal are shaping your present reality. Believe it. Until they are seen, felt, processed, some parts will be released, other parts will be integrated. That's when they begin to lose power over your life. See, once I faced a story, that story stopped owning me. So what can you do starting today? So first, ask yourself, what's driving me right now? Not what am I doing, what is driving me? Might be fear or love or approval or peace or pressure. Second step, begin a stillness practice. Now, if 10 minutes sounds impossible to you, start with 3 minutes. Literally, several times a day, stop, breathe deeply, smile, and quietly be with yourself. Your first goal is to get to 20 minutes a day of meditation with breath work. Even brief mindfulness practices have been shown to improve attention, emotional regulation, and lower stress reactivity. Won't it be great when you can respond from a place of peace versus reacting from a place of fear? Third step, separate yourself from the inner voice. When the mind says, you're behind, you're not enough, hurry, prove it, compare, ask yourself this: is this wisdom or is this old programming? Number 4, build whole brain thinking. So use breath work, use reflection. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? What is actually true? 5th, journal regularly. A life worth living is a life worth recording. So writing by hand can be deeply meditative, and it's been linked to improved emotional processing and clarity. We're getting there. 6th is tell the truth somewhere safe. In coaching, in therapy, with a trusted friend, in your journal. See, the biggest lie high achievers often believe is this: once I get there, then I'll feel okay. Haven't you learned yet that there keeps moving? I mean, even Tom Brady, the infamously winning championship dude, would win a championship, get his Super Bowl trophy, and say, is this all there is? Achievement alone cannot answer the questions of identity, peace, love, or meaning. If you don't know how to feel okay here, there rarely fixes it, because you take you with you. Success means something different to me now. Yes, I still appreciate achievement. Success now also means peace in my body, authenticity in my relationships, really genuinely enjoying my own company, freedom from old stories, helping others wake up, and even greater accomplishments without self-abandonment. That's true success. So if you're at all like me, and you've already read the books, gone to the seminars, done the mindset work, hired the coaches, attended the masterminds, built the businesses, yet still, it's like something unseen just keeps getting in your way. It might not be a strategy problem. It might be an inner work invitation. You're not broken. You're not failing. You may simply be trying to solve an internal problem with external tools. And once you understand that, everything can change. Thank you for listening. And if this episode helped you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you're curious about going a little deeper, you can visit my website at www.karaschug.com for more information and some resources. I'm Coach Schug, and I will see you next week on Think Your Way to an Epic Life. Thanks.